So you all, thank you so much. You guys continue showing Joshua some love. I'm gonna go ahead and bring on our next speaker. 3 minutes behind, my apology, Selima. Selima is gonna come to the stage. Give me 1 second. As I bring her to the stage, I will go ahead and introduce her. So Selima is a dear herbal friend of mine who is also or was also a part of the first annual BIPOC Herbalism Conference. She is a respected herbalist in the herbalism atmosphere. She has multiple classes. She has what is it, herbal remedies from the soul, or what's your course name? Did I butcher your course? Food
Herbal
from the soul.
medicine for the soul.
There we go. She has an amazing course called Herbal Medicine for the Soul that everyone loves and adores. She has a YouTube, she has an Instagram. She literally is the most dedicated Instagram person I know when it comes to herbalism. She also is a professor, Professor
Hey.
Selima at Spelman,
It is. Yeah.
correct? She does all of that. She is a mother. She's an herbalist. She has a course. She's on social media. She's a professor, and she is showing up today for this conference. So we thank you so, so much for being here. And so Selima's topic today, let me pull up the schedule. Selima is going to be talking about a very spicy topic that I'm ready for. Selima is going to be talking about, her topic is overworked and under orgasm, herbs for stress and sensuality. Go ahead and take it away.
Thank you so much, Abril. Thank you so much for having me again. And thanks to all the participants and the attendees today. What a gracious introduction. I really appreciate you, admire your work so much. And so I know folks are ready to get into how they can get some more O's in. So we're going to start right into the teachings. I'm going to share my screen because I do have slides. And let me know. I'm assuming everyone can see the slides. And we'll take it away. I'm curious about who is an animal lover, who loves dogs, who loves cats. Let me know in the chat. I do have it pulled up just so I can see and we can have some interaction. And so something that we know about animals is that when they are transitioning, they shake it off. Like every single time an animal is going from one energy to another energy, they shake it off. And that's like their own nervous system reset. Our dog, Prosper, well, every time he sees another dog, he's a mini schnauzer. So anyone who knows the mini schnauzer breed, they are loud and they are small, right? It's one of those dogs. But anytime we take him on a walk, he sees another dog. He's very sweet and very friendly. But that dog, when he sees another dog, he goes bananas. And then he shakes it off. And you see it with like lions when we watch like National Geographic or we watch animal videos. After the chase, after the hunt, the animals shake it off. And that's their nervous system reset. And we, as humans, we don't do that very well. So much of this, what we're going to talk about today is how do we invite the herbs? How do we invite our practices? How do we invite our choices in how we think to help us shake it off? Because if your body has to focus on survival, it can't prioritize pleasure. So stress is a natural reaction to change. It's not all due to unpleasant, challenging, or traumatic events. And some stressors are even considered beneficial, like appropriate amounts of movement, as they help us build resilience. Every time we exercise, we stress the body. And when appropriate and regular, it builds muscle, stamina, endurance. Every time we eat, we stress the body because our food inevitably contains substances that the body has to recognize as beneficial or not. Stress shows up in many forms, from pathogenic microorganisms, exposure to different toxins, extreme temperature fluctuations, nutritional deficiencies, allergic responses to allergies, to surgery, severe illness, sustained negative emotion is also a source of stress. So excessive or chronic stress is what's harmful. And I don't know about you, but that seems to be the norm that we are experiencing nowadays, is the chronic effects of stress. And that can vary for each person and the type of stress that they're experiencing, how it shows up in mind, body, spirit. It causes changes to our hormone levels, our immune, our cardiac, our gastrointestinal function. Cortisol is often referred to as the stress hormone, as it's generally released during times of stress. But cortisol has many functions, including regulating our immune response in healthy ways. When it's released in healthy ways, metabolism and incorrect levels, it helps to check inflammation, regulate blood sugar, blood levels, blood pressure levels. Cortisol increases glucose in the bloodstream through the breakdown of muscle tissue. So the body has fuel to fight, which stimulates the release of more insulin so that the cells can use that for energy. While cortisol initially reduces inflammation, too much cortisol suppresses our immune function and can affect weight, often leading to weight gain, weight loss for some folks, and put a person at risk for certain chronic diseases. So high levels of stress are associated with heart disease, depression, anxiety, hypertension, insulin resistance, insomnia, sex hormone imbalances, and too low levels of cortisol can cause inflammatory diseases, depression, chronic fatigue syndrome, hypotension, insomnia. It's so much. And it has a huge impact on our libido and our sexual response. And so much of this is like, how do we reclaim our joy as people of color? How do we reclaim our pleasure? How do we reclaim ease? But I like to bridge those connections between what's happening in our physical experience and what's happening internally. And ultimately, chronic stress kills the mood. While it's natural, it kills the mood. And so many people, I can't count the number of people who ask me when they come into our Decatur shop, or people find out that I work as an herbalist. One of the first questions is, what can I do for libido? What can I do for erectile dysfunction? And it's such a larger conversation than me offering an herb. We have to talk about your life. We have to talk about your mindset. We have to talk about what you're putting in your body. We can't skip steps. So we're talking about some of those steps and making those connections between when we are chronically stressed and what's happening in our bodies. So when we are chronically stressed, and our cortisol rhythm is dysregulated, that increases inflammation. Excess inflammation then leads to disrupting our gut microbiome. So gut microbiome, who's heard about it? Let me know in the chat. The gut microbiome is fascinating because it is made up of trillions of microorganisms that reside in your body. We actually have more of these microorganisms than we do have of our own DNA. They are keeping us alive, or they're not because of our lifestyle. There's so many factors that impact our gut microbiome balance. And I really like to think of it like a scale or like a balance. What we are aiming for is for the beneficial microorganisms to be in greater diversity and in higher quantities than the ones that can potentially be harmful for us. But so much of our lifestyles, our diets, our chronic stress shifts the balance, where we have more of the harmful, potentially pathogenic ones that if they're in check properly, they're not harmful, but when they overgrow, they become harmful to us. And so we're going to shift the balance, because the gut microbiome radiates out to every other physiological process in the body. It disrupts when it's like this. So these are the good ones. These are the potentially harmful ones. When our balance is like this, it's hard to check inflammatory conditions, any of them. It's hard to have an efficient response to infections, which your body's really intelligent at doing. It's hard to have correct hormone function. It is the first brain. It's like a highway. I'm looking at the chat and also the slides, but there's a highway. That gut-brain axis, really visualize a highway between the gut and the brain. It's interconnected and there's constant communication. When it's like this, the harmful are more numerous than the beneficial. We can't think clearly. We can't balance our weight in the way in which we would like. It hugely affects our mental health. So much of, I believe that the first step in mental health conditions or imbalances should be looking at diet. And there's so much that disrupts it, but there's also so much that we can do to gradually shift that balance. And of course, as we're talking about here, of course, it impacts our libido and our ability to enjoy sex, our ability to orgasm. But I want you all to think about this scale along the way of just making these micro movements to improving our gut microbiome balance, because without that improvement, we really can't fix anything else. And so now let's talk about some of the herbs. I feel like the hardest part of any workshop when we're talking about herbs is which herbs to choose, because we have so many to choose from. And the way that I don't like to overwhelm people with herbs, because there are herbs outnumber people. We always have so many that we can choose from. So this is a select few herbs that we can talk about that you can incorporate and invite into your own herbal practice. One is Damiana. Damiana has been traditionally used to support healthy libido. It's specifically indicated for improving orgasmic function and increasing vaginal lubrication. One of the ripple effects of having that imbalance, that gut dysbiosis, is vaginal dryness. So that's Damiana is one of the plants that helps support us in this way. It supports us in this way. It's an aphrodisiac, a nervine. So a nervine means that it has an affinity for the nervous system, working on the nervous system. And it's both a nervous system relaxant, helping us to calm down, but it's also a circulatory stimulant. So helping to increase blood flow to our reproductive areas. And it's a tonic, meaning that for many people, it's generally safe and can be taken, it can be taken daily for long periods of time. And it's a rejuvenative herb. Damiana is calming, it's relaxing, it's an excellent choice when low libido is caused by fatigue and stress. And it's best prepared as a tincture, a mild tea. It can also be smoked. Maca, I'm sure many people have heard of maca. Maca is a plant that originates in the Peruvian Andes Mountains. It's traditionally used to support vitality, virility, circulation, and fertility. It's an adaptogen. So when we think about chronic levels of stress, adaptogens are a great classification of herbs to start incorporating into your herbal practice. Adaptogens work specifically on our hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. They help us regulate our stress response. So just like the animals do so well at shaking off the energy when they need to reset, and we don't do so well at that, adaptogens are a classification of plants that help us do that better, more efficiently. So think about, like, with our nervous system responses, sometimes we don't know. When we're chronically stressed, we don't know if we need to press the gas. We don't know if we need to press the brakes. Sometimes we press them simultaneously. Adaptogens help us regulate that process so that when we're in stressful situations, we actually respond appropriately. But when we're not in stressful situations, if you're just sitting at your desk and you're receiving an email, that's not a real emergency, but you are thinking that it is. So you are responding as if there's a fire. There's not a fire. It's just an email. There's not a fire. There's not a real emergency. So adaptogens help us manage that response so that we are appropriately in our parasympathetic nervous system state or in our sympathetic nervous system state when we need to be. So that's a short overview of adaptogens. I encourage you to learn more about them. It's also an antioxidant. So antioxidants, we know, we hear it all the time. We need more antioxidants, more antioxidants. Think of antioxidants as Well, I'll just tell you what they are. When we have a lot of free radicals, those are unstable molecules in our bodies that steal electrons from other molecules. And adaptogens, not adaptogens, antioxidants are, think of them as electron donators. So there's a lot of chemical reactions that happen within the body that are natural, perfectly a part of our natural physiological responses. And so this free radical, this having antioxidants in the body, things that are naturally produced and naturally happening, this is a natural process. But when it gets out of control, when we have too many free radicals, largely through diet, through stress, through movement, lack of movement, we need to support the body in taking in more antioxidants to slow these chemical reactions down, because they lead to more inflammation and more tissue damage in the body. So having a diet that's high in antioxidants is hugely beneficial, because we slow that inflammation down as one of the many benefits. Another aphrodisiac, and it's nutritive. Maca's in the turnip family, so this is food. Also a rejuvenative herb. Many people work with maca to help increase their libido, their sexual arousal. It enhances the mood, elevates our energy, it's stimulating, supports healthy erections, and hormone regulation. Maca is best taken as a powder, added to warm cereals, added to yogurt, shakes, or smoothies. And then we have horny goat weed. Horny goat weed is exactly as it sounds. It grows in Asia, Europe, and the Middle East. It has been used for approximately 2,000 years to support fertility and healthy sexual function. It's analgesic. That means that it has mild pain relieving properties. It's antispasmodic, helping to reduce pain associated with cramping, with spasms, usually smooth muscle tissue. Aphrodisiac, nervine. You're going to start to see some themes here around the plants that are supportive to our libido, largely helping us calm down. And it's a circulatory stimulant, bringing fresh blood to the reproductive organs. Horny goat weed can be used for erectile dysfunction, libido, fertility. It helps with sperm formation and estrogen deficiency, and our overall vitality. This plant is best prepared as a capsule or a tea. And ginger, another plant that you're probably hugely familiar with because it's found everywhere in our grocery stores. Ginger is an aphrodisiac, likely through its warming quality. It's a very warming, stimulating herb, helps with increasing circulation again to those organs and system-wide. Ginger is a diffusive herb, meaning that it helps to disperse the plant constituents throughout the body. It's often really used as a synergistic herb or a catalyst herb in your formula in small amounts to help drive the formula to the tissues, to the periphery. It's warming, aphrodisiac. It's an excellent choice for inclusion in your herbal formulas for sexual support. And it's best prepared as a fresh juice or a tea. When it's dry, that has more benefit over our digestive system. When it's fresh, it also has more benefit over like having the antiviral properties. So there are some differences in preparation and benefits that we receive depending on the plant and how we prepare them. And chamomile is one of my first plant loves. I have very fond memories of drinking chamomile as a child, helping with digestive discomfort. It is the plant that, to me, helps to usher in the peace. It hugely supports relaxation, is wonderful indications for our entire digestive system. And when you think about that gut-brain axis, that highway between the gut and the brain, think about butterflies in your stomach. If you ever get anxious before public speaking or under any other circumstance, and you feel those butterflies in your stomach, that's a really great example of that communication that happens between our gut microbiome and our minds. And chamomile is a perfect herb for that kind of nervous system response that resides in the gut. Nervine, it's sedative, it's relaxant. Think of that as like a spectrum of relaxation. Nervine is that balanced place where we know that it's helping the nervous system. Relaxant is more calming, and then sedative is even more calming. And one of those things is that it's kind of dose dependent. 1 cup of chamomile tea is not likely, well, it might for some people. It's like, don't underestimate these very delicate flowers. They can be really powerfully relaxing, but this dose dependent in terms of how much relaxation that we can feel. And best prepared as a tea, but also a glycerite and a tincture will help as well. We want those aromatics. It's so fragrant and so floral. And those aromatics, those volatile oils help us with our gut microbiome balance. It has very significant antimicrobial benefits as well, which is going to help, again, shift the balance between those harmful bacteria to having more helpful bacteria in our guts. And then we have skullcap. And like its name suggests, we need to have some a ceiling maybe to our thoughts, to our runaway thoughts. It's a beautiful herb that has another affinity for the nervous system. Again, we're seeing that theme. When we're chronically stressed, part of that ripple effect, we can't orgasm because we're stressed out. So a lot of these herbs are helping our nervous system support. So sedative in a higher dose, relaxant, nervine, but also tropo-restorative. This is a really, really unique action to herbal medicine that you are not going to find in pharmaceuticals. Tropo-restorative essentially means that a plant has the ability to restore function of an organ, tissue, system, even from its most depleted, malnourished, underfunctioning state. That you can't find that in pills. You cannot find that in pills at all. So tropo-restorative for the nervous system, two of those plants, one of which is here, is skullcap. So even from that most burnt out state, skullcap can be your friend. Another one is milky oats, if you want to look that up. So another one of my favorites. Skullcap helps with sleep. It helps to restore that nervous system function over time. So you want to keep this in your herbal practice. When you're feeling depleted, you want to keep this in your herbal rotation, in your herbal practice for longer periods of time. And then it's this is the key to helping with healthy sexual function in its relaxation benefits. It's best prepared as a fresh tincture when needed for tonic action, like having it mostly daily, or the dried herb can be used as a tea, tincture, glycerite for anxiety and for sleep support. And then we have lemon balm, another nervine. Lemon balm helps to lift the melancholy. So it really is supportive for mild to moderate anxiety and depression. Both of these can be detrimental to sexual function and enjoyment and pleasure. So it's a wonderful choice for when these are co-occurring, where we're having depression, which is also going to feed into not having the much drive towards sexual health or sexual pleasure. It's astringent, meaning it helps to tighten and tone tissue. Another nervine, relaxant, stomachic, helping our digestive system, again, helping that microbiome balance. And it's best prepared as a tea, and it's contraindicated with those who experience hypothyroidism. And just some other things to consider as we think about our sexual health is zinc. All right, so zinc is really interesting. Every time a person ejaculates, they use about 5 milligrams of zinc. It's highly concentrated in both sperm and seminal fluid, and frequent ejaculation can lead to zinc depletion, especially if the diet is poor. Deficiencies of zinc result in reduced libido, low testosterone levels, and low sperm counts. Zinc also helps with estrogen regulation, supports sexual function for all. And foods that are rich in zinc are meats, oysters, legumes, eggs, whole grains. Zinc levels are usually found to be low in fertile men or those assigned male at birth with low sperm counts. Increasing the levels of zinc in the body can have an immediate and powerful effect on sperm motility, production, and even testosterone levels in the blood. So a number of studies have shown that zinc supplementation immediately affects that sperm motility and production. And then we have to talk about the liver. Your liver does a big job. It has the biggest job in detoxifying our bodies, detoxifying metabolic waste, so just waste that happens in all the chemical reactions that occur in our body, toxins from processed foods, heavy metals, xenoestrogens, pollution. Think of all of the things that we're exposed to. Once they are in our bodies, they have to go through the liver. It helps to store vitamins, helps to make bile, which emulsifies fats, that helps us to absorb fat. and makes fat-soluble vitamins, helps to excrete excess cholesterol, and it helps us metabolize excess hormones. So lots of people, when we experience those different hormone fluctuations, particularly high androgen levels, think about conditions like PCOS or hormonal acne or high estrogen levels, estrogen dominant conditions like fibroids or endometriosis. The liver plays a huge role in that because it helps to metabolize our excess hormones. But when the liver is overloaded from other toxins that we're exposed to from our diet, from our lifestyle, from our stress levels, then it can't do all of its jobs efficiently. So basically, sad liver, sad sex life. Your vaginal dryness will increase as your liver function or just liver is overloaded. Vaginal dryness is when exactly as it sounds, where we're not producing enough lubrication to be able to enjoy sex. The liver is responsible for breaking down testosterone. That's healthy. We all have testosterone, just at different levels, but that hormone is essential for a healthy sex drive and for performance, not just for people assigned male at birth, but for all of us. Low testosterone levels contribute to anxiety, depression, fatigue, infertility, and more. And it contributes to erectile dysfunction. So erectile dysfunction is the inability to get or maintain an erection firm enough for sexual intercourse. So poor liver function can increase the risk of erectile dysfunction by affecting the production of nitric oxide. It's a chemical that helps the blood vessels relax and dilate. That's also why we see so many of our sexual health herbs improving circulation to counteract that. And we'll have a reduced sex drive when we have poor liver function. So sad liver, sad sex life. You also want to talk to your doctor if you're on any medications, because there are common culprits that reduce sexual function, including some high blood pressure medications, some antipsychotic medications, antidepressant medications, and some steroids. So if you're experiencing that and you're on a medication, ask your doctor around if this is one of the potential side effects that you're experiencing. Because again, we're reclaiming our joy here, we're reclaiming our pleasure, and we want to think about all of the different factors that might be contributing to why we are not getting more O's in our life. Big proponent of getting more O's. And endocrine disruptors. So, even Joshua touched on this. We talk about this a lot in our work, our environment, our planet, the way in which we're treating it, or the relationship that we have with our planet. We are exposed to, because of that, we are exposed to so many different chemicals. And your body's incredibly intelligent. We have detoxification pathways. Your body knows how to handle a certain level of toxins and waste in the body, and knows how to eliminate those efficiently. But because of our society, because of all of the chemicals that we're exposed to found in multiple forms of plastic, whether that's in our kids' toys or cosmetics, food packaging, many of the pesticides and the herbicides, our body care products, our beauty care products, our cleaning products, we at some point have to think about how much we're asking our bodies to be able to handle. And so endocrine disruptors are chemicals that alter our hormone levels. And so the more we can remove some of those chemicals to the best of our ability, we have levers that we can push. And one of those levers that we have control over is food and diet and what we consume. And another one of those levers that we have control over is the products that we use. And so the more that we can pull and manipulate the levers that we have control over, the more we'll feel better, to be honest. So if we can move to some toxin-free body care, cleaning products, organic does matter. I know some folks think it's just a label. It's not. And studies have actually shown that since the push for organic and having less pesticides, even though the companies are still doing it, there have been gradual decreases in the levels of herbicides and pesticides in our food system. So think about what you're putting, not just in your body, but think about what you are putting on your body and reduce your chemical exposure as much as possible. We're seeing higher levels of estrogenic conditions going up, higher levels of reproductive cancer, ovarian failure, changes in menstrual cycles, from lost periods to multiple periods per month, reduced sperm count. And one of the contributing factors is the endocrine disruptors that we are exposed to on a daily basis. And now we got to talk about the mind. You got to get your mind right. You got to put the basket of busyness and burdens down and allow your true nature to rise to the surface. So, you know, those practices that people talk about so much that it kind of starts to feel played out. You get tired of hearing people telling you to meditate. You get tired of hearing that suggestion so much, but it works. Meditation is one of those stress management and mindful practices that so many people suggest, myself included, even now, including the scientific community, because it works. Every sage, every mystic, every yogi, every spiritual teacher across time, space, culture, modern and ancestral, they've all talked about the power of some form of meditation. Maybe it's been called by different names, because this is the gateway to ourselves. Everyone needs a practice that allows them to put down this basket of burdens, this basket of busyness. And when we put that basket down, we allow our true nature to rise to the surface. You are not stress. You are not anger. You are not sick. You are not doubt or fear or resentment. Those are responses. All of the responses to the peopling that we have to do, which can be hard and triggering and frustrating and traumatizing and upsetting. So no matter the form, though, of meditation that you practice, I really like to think of it as a means of putting distance between our circumstances, our challenges, our traumas, the identities that we assume, and who we really are. You are not fighting your mind during your meditation practice. You are not pushing against your thoughts. You're witnessing them and practicing letting them go. Almost like as if they're on a conveyor belt. For some people, that conveyor belt is just so full. It is so busy. It is so jam-packed with all of the things that you need to do, all of the things that you need to take care of, with all of the stresses that you have, with arguments and conversations that you're replaying again and again and again and again, that you're ruminating over. And you're trying to rewrite the story, trying to rewrite the past by thinking about the past. But the way you rewrite it is thinking about the now and choosing your future. We don't have to get everything like we didn't get everything. We're not sorting everything out in the past. If you didn't cuss them out in the moment, well, guess what? You're not about to do it now. You're not going to do it right now sitting in this conference. You're not going to do it tonight at midnight. Stop replaying those conversations. All of your power is in right now, in the choices that we make and how we think. The regrets, everyone has regrets, disappointments, worries about the future for yourself, for your kids, for your family. We're thinking about your relationships, jobs, money, decisions. We live in the wildest time. We have to make a lot of decisions, and all of those things are on our conveyor belt, our mental conveyor belt. And the reality is that we can't do anything productive about any of those things when the mind is racing and when you are spiraling. You can't find the solution. You can't find the answer. You certainly can't find your orgasms when you are not practiced in training the mind on what to think about and when. And that's what meditation is. How do I choose my thoughts in this moment? For 10, 15 minutes, I'm going to practice choosing my thoughts. You witness what's on that conveyor belt, just don't pick it up. If you pick it up, you just put it back down, watch it go by. And with practice, I'm really emphasizing that word practice, because so many people are like, I'm going to meditate right now and today, and I'm going to do 10 minutes. And it might not feel like you had an epiphany. It's a practice. This is a part of you showing up for yourself every single day to practice putting the burdens down. just practice putting the burdens down. And over time, that conveyor belt, it gets less cluttered, it gets less busy, it's less full, and there's this spaciousness. And in that spaciousness, your blood pressure will regulate, your heart rate will regulate, your inflammation dials down, your mental concentration and your focus improves, your mood lifts, the grips of anxiety and depression, that loosens, but it's a practice. And then get your energy right, go outside. This is a herbal conference. Where are herbs? They're outside. Yes, they're in our drawers and they're in our pantries and they're in our home apothecaries and they're in our stores, but they are outside. So my wife and I, we start our work day with a walk. It's about 45 minutes. As long as it's not raining or under 40 degrees, that's like my threshold. And it's about 4 to 5 times a week. And there's this trail near our office, and it's just our time to be outside, to connect, to chat with one another. Maybe we talk about business, maybe we talk about our son, we talk about life. Ideas flow better, we breathe better. Of course, movement is beneficial to our bodies, and according to the condition of your body, movement is beneficial for what you're able to do. Spending time outside in nature cannot be emphasized enough. Nature neutralizes all of our tension. The sunlight, even on a cloudy day, the fresh air, even when it's blazing hot and humid here in Atlanta, the sounds from the birds or the silence at dawn, at twilight, the changing colors of the trees and the leaves, the emergence and the retreat from the plants, that is really rejuvenating. Nature can be our biggest teacher if we are open to it. And all we have to do is go outside, just go out the door, and nature literally does the rest. Some of the same physiological benefits that we receive from meditation also occur when we spend time outside, which is great because there's a lot to be said about witnessing the cycles of the life cycles of the plants, the animal interactions, the seasons that teach us how to surrender, how to let go, how to follow our instincts and our inner voice, how to accept change. You know, we're in the changing season right now. Do you think that the leaves or the trees are hemming and hawing over the leaves falling? No, nature is a really great example of how we can regulate ourselves and learn to let go, honor change, honor shifting seasons, honor the energy within us, and learn how to release. And we increase our capacity and our spaciousness increases, our relationships, our job, we get clarity. When we release, then the clarity and the answers and the solutions can rise to the surface. So 20, 30 minutes outside, don't overthink it. Don't put that on your conveyor belt. It can be your lunch break. It can just go for a walk. You can just piddle around in your garden. Just sit and watch the trees, like literally go hug the trees. They will enjoy it. And the benefit that you will receive will be so incredibly profound. And one of the last practices is take a bath. Or go buy water. Somehow, some way, get yourself by some water. I don't know how Abril just got on, so I don't know how much time I have left. So take 5 minutes. Okay. Take a bath. So water has memory and carries within it our thoughts and prayers, as you yourself are water. No matter where you are, your prayers will be carried to the rest of the world. That's a quote by Dr. Masaru Emoto. So look at these images, because Dr. Masaru Emoto, he was the first scientist to study the consciousness of water. We ancestrally, as people of color, we know that. We know that water holds consciousness. We know that water holds memory. And we know that we are made up of 60 to 70% water, and so are plants up to 90%. But look at the thoughts. So this study, I'm gonna try to talk fast. This study was done where people were thinking these thoughts, and look at the structure and how the structure of the water changed. So this is encouraging you to think about what you think about, because what you think about literally has a physiological effect on your cells. And that we feel it, like we feel it when our emotions get heightened when we're thinking the same thoughts. But now you have physical evidence that shows you that what you think about, your cells are literally responding to. So one of the ways that I bring water into my practice is through spiritual baths. Get in the tub or take a long shower or do foot baths, whatever you have the capacity to do in your space, in your time, in your quarters. You might get in that tub angry, frustrated, tired, but make sure while you're in there, you are actively and intentionally choosing to let go, choosing appreciation, choosing sensuality, choosing joy, and the water will support you in your intent by literally changing its structure. And that's the structure that's inside of your cells. All right, had some more slides. We're gonna keep it moving. because I know we don't want to get behind schedule. Thank y'all so much.
Well, Selima, if you have time, do you think you'll have to, since we're short on time for answering questions, do you
Yeah,
think you'll have time to hop in the VIP
I
for
will. What time does it start? At 12?
let's pull up the schedule. Let's see. It starts VIP networking session 12:15.
I'll be
So
there.
awesome. So we have a lot of questions for Selima. Let's see if we can answer one or two. She does have a course. That was one of the questions. Admin, go ahead and drop her links to her course in the chat. We will also be giving away that scholarship that you could use for Selima's course, and that money will be going back to Selima's pocket to help out with her herbal teaching efforts for that $5,000, which again, I'll release more information on how to apply tomorrow. Another question was about menopause. Are any of these herbs you mentioned good for menopause? I saw a few. And people want to also know, as far as overconsumption, can you overconsume any of these adaptogen herbs?
Yes, absolutely. And some I'll answer the second one and the first one because that's how my memory was working. So the second one with regarding to adaptogens, you can overconsume any herbs, right? So I think a general practice is to start low and go slow and start with one at a time to actually, excuse me, to actually feel your body's response. And one of the things that I also like to consider is not just reaching for herbs when you're sick, or when there's an acute issue, but I said this term a couple of times. It's really to develop an herbal practice in which you are interacting, you are developing a relationship with plants, with the plant realm, with nature, and with yourself through these as teachers every day. So spend time. Don't always have this frame of mind of like, I need to fix something. Spend time because the subtle benefits that you'll receive from herbs are far more, in my opinion, profound. And the first step before we get to the physical benefits. So yes, you can overconsume, start low, go slow, and also work with one at a time so that you can literally feel how you are responding to them. Some adaptogens are stimulating and not very helpful when someone is already in a burnt out state. And some are more mild and gentle and can really help us regulate our cortisol rhythms. And then regarding menopause, yes, some of these are very beneficial for menopause. Menopause, the hormone fluctuations of the progesterone and the estrogen, while they're declining, they're also like, it's kind of like this weird like fluctuation while it's also declining, and your body is trying to find a new normal, just in the same way, but not exactly the same, as it's trying to find that new normal in puberty. So I don't think of menopause. Menopause is not a health issue. It is a transition. It is a new season that we are entering into. And all of our healthful practices, especially around whole foods, all of those things still help our transition into this new season, into these new years in our life. But yes, some of these herbs are helpful. It would be easier for me. Just email me. Just email me which ones. One of the ones that's not here that I really think is beneficial for menopause is Vitex, which is chaste berry, because it helps to keep, while the estrogen and progesterone are going wonky and crazy, Vitex helps to keep the estrogen to progesterone symptom ratio stable, even while it's naturally declining, if that makes sense.
Awesome. If we do have to go to the next speaker, but could you please share your ebook that's going to be included in the
Oh,
BIPOC Healing Collection? So
and
if
you
you
also
want one
have this ebook.
more, go ahead.
I forgot what I put in it. It's not this. This is a free ebook that you all can get access to right now that has 25 recipes if you scan the QR code. But the ebook that is in the collection, I believe it is Help for Pain-Free Periods.
Is that I was just looking right
Boom.
now. Yes. So
Boom.
it does have a full ebook for help for pain-free periods in the Healing Collection, which is $29.99 and will be dropping tomorrow for you all to purchase. We do have so many more questions in the chat. But we won't be able to get to them all. So Salima's gonna hop on the VIP networking session, which starts after our next session, and she'll be there. There's questions a lot for men's support. People are asking about ejaculation, how much is too much. People are asking
Okay.
Yeah, so we might begin to it in the VIP session. People are asking about how to balance your nervous system by damaged by chronic stress. Honestly, the herbs she mentioned, the adaptogen herbs, will help with that, especially for autoimmune disorder. The adaptogen herbs can also help balance out your immune system. There are herbs that help replenish those T helper cells. So yes, bring your questions to the VIP networking session. Thank you again, Selima. It's always a
Thank
joy. I
you.
know I
Thank
said I'm gonna
you.
come to Atlanta. I've been trying to get out there to
It's
to
only
you.
2 hours.
No. I come to Atlanta once a month for like self-care, but I'm just focused on, just self-care. But we do have to schedule something. So I
Yeah.
could, we're literally 2 hours away. So I can come and visit. Thank you again for this amazing session, y'all. Go ahead and drop Selima some love in
Thank
the chat. Selima, what's your
you.
favorite color?
Pink, actually. Yeah.
Go ahead and drop some pink hearts for Selima in the chat to show her love for this amazing session. I was even like, yeah, I could put that in my smoothie today. All right. So go ahead and show her some pink hearts in the chat.
Thank
Thank you so much, Selima,
y'all.
for having you, for being here with us. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and bring on the next speaker. Bye.